Before this video starts, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. Show the kid DC Wrestling some love. And also, last night I posted my WWE Royal Rumble 2021 predictions. I really put a lot of effort into it. I really put a lot of editing into it. The video is at 5 views right now, so if you could get that up to about, maybe I would say about 10, 15. A good chunk would probably be 50, but if you could get the video up, run the likes up, spread the comment section, that would be so graceful. But overall, if you just subscribe to the channel, that would be a huge support. So yeah. But anyways, I decided I wanted to make another video before the SmackDown review. And by God, this has nothing to do with SmackDown. This has nothing to do with Raw or AEW or NXT, NXT UK, or it's not even about the Royal Rumble. This video is about 205 Live. And the title of this video will be called, What Has Happened to 205 Live? 205 Live is a brand that is just completely forgotten. Nobody watches it. Nobody knows about it. Well, they do, but they just don't watch it. If you were to ask a random WWE fan out on the street or a wrestling fan and say, hey, did you watch the latest episode of 205 Live this past week? They'll probably ask you, well, what the hell is 205 Live anyway? Back in 2016, the Cruiserweight Classic was spectacular. It worked. It was great. You were seeing amazing competitors in the Cruiserweight division all around the world, from Japan, the United Kingdom, and even here in the United States. One of my favorite matches actually in the Cruiserweight Classic was Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. That match, in my opinion, one of the best Cruiserweight matches I've seen in a long time, people. That match was really good. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's on the Cruiserweight Classic on the WWE Network, and Daniel Bryan commentating during the whole Cruiserweight Classic was amazing as well. But then the WWE decides that they wanna push the envelope a little bit more. They want to push the cruiserweights out a little bit more, and to do that, the WWE has decided to make a whole show for cruiserweights, thus bringing in 205 Live. Now, I will admit the WWE Cruiserweight Championship does look good, and when it first appeared, it looked amazing. But they decided to put the 205 Live on Monday Night Raw. And to be quite honest with you, at first it seemed promising. It seemed oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be such a good hit. This is gonna bring in ratings and all that. You know what I mean? But to be honest with you, 205 Live, from where it was from the start, moving to Raw, even to Raw's third hour, to now having their own show, in my opinion, well, no, it's not even opinion anymore. It's a stone cold fact. 205 Live is dead, people. 205 Live is dead. As a matter of fact, I might even rename the video 205 Live is dead. At this point, there's really nothing that you can do to save 205 Live. In my opinion, when 205 Live was amazing, when it was entertaining, so coincidentally was when Enzo was champion, and that's saying something. When you have Enzo Amore as your champion, and he's the best one on this roster, he's the one that's bringing in the views for y'all, he's the one that's bringing in the ratings for y'all, dude, that's crazy. And Enzo's not even considered a cruiserweight. He doesn't do all that high flying 450, 360, turn around, jump around. He doesn't do all that BS. Enzo's more of a talker more than he is as a wrestler. And yet, he was the best thing about 205 Live, and that's sad. Okay, well, then again, you could argue and say Neville, when they had Neville and, you know, and Austin Aries. But then again, even when they were on the show, they didn't do nothing. Neville, who really shouldn't even been in the cruiserweight, should have been on the main roster. Neville had to, and even Aries, that feud was the best thing on 205 Live. If you go back and saw it, it was the best thing on 205 Live to the point that people were questioning why was it on the kickoff show. Crazy, man. I had to get a sip of my cranberry because it's good. That lets you know. 205 Live is so bad that my cranberry juice is way better than 205 Live. There was a SmackDown in my hometown last year. Well, not last year, but 2019, December of 2019, before the pandemic hit and everything. Like a month before, like really got settled to the U.S. And me, my dad, my uncle, we stayed after the show because the big SmackDown main event was The Fiend versus versus The Miz. But this was like after the show was over. So instead of it happening after SmackDown, this is a dark match, by the way, this match took place after 205 Live. So we had to sit through what felt like an hour of 205 Live. And let me tell you something, bro. That audience was completely dead, in my opinion. No, again, stone cold fact. That crowd was dead. They wasn't reacting to the moves. They just didn't care about it. And I sat here thinking to myself like, oh, Jesus, we have to sit through this BS of 205 Live just so I can see The Fiend versus The Miz? It's crazy. It is crazy. Okay? 205 Live, it was just a terrible idea from the beginning. It has failed miserably. And even when Triple H took over, it still didn't have that hype. It still didn't have that presence when it had the Cruiserweight Classic. Because wrestling is not just about going in the ring and doing high spots and flippity-roo all the time. It's about storytelling. Storytelling matters, people. It does. So what do they need to do to make the cruiserweights feel a little bit better? Here's what I think they should do. Now, I'm not really a huge booker. I'm not a Vince McMahon or Triple H, but if they were to ask me, like, what would you do? This is what I would do. I would end the show. End the show. Get rid of the entire show completely. Put them on NXT. You know, the Cruiserweights already named the NXT Cruiserweight Championships, but put the whole Cruiserweights on, NXT. We've seen it. Lio Rush and Angel Garza had amazing feud. They had amazing matches on NXT, and it was over the Cruiserweight Championship. Just put the Cruiserweights on NXT, and this stupid 205 Live BS, because nobody's watching it, because nobody wants to tune into another after show after they just got done watching a 2-hour show of SmackDown, which is easy to get through a 3rd-hour episode of Monday Night Raw. Do something. 205 Live does not need to be a show, people. It doesn't. Alright, so that's I guess you can call this a rant. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to put a video out because I just wanted to put a video out talking about how 205 Live is just bad right now, and well, the only thing that's happening now is the Dusty Rhodes Classic with the men and women. So hopefully, that could pull up ratings or something. Anyway, guys, this has been the video. This has been the kid, your boy, which one you want to call it, DC Wrestling, back at it again. Like I said, please, peeps, go watch my Royal Rumble predictions. I really put a lot of effort into it, lots of editing, just a lot of work into it, and I think it's, really good work of mine. So go check that out. Subscribe to the channel. I don't really post daily content, but when I do, I just post it whenever. So this has been DC Wrestling, and yeah.